So I'm going to very quickly, I'm going to give you 5 steps because I realize I want to make sure that I'm giving you tools every time you come here. I'm going to give you 5 steps very quickly to write down, and then we're going to start unpacking these more in the upcoming weeks to overcome depression. Number 1, we've talked about it early on. You should already know this, but the key is you have to do your best to stop it early on. Remember, the disappointment wants to transition into discouragement, circle number 2, which wants to translate into full-fledged depression, circle number 3, which wants to get even more acute into despondency, circle number 4, which Satan wants to totally reproduce the seed in your mind of hopelessness, of despair, in circle number 5. So you want to catch it early on. In circle number 1 or 2, the average saint has the resources to counteract it on their own. And circle number 4 or 5, you're going to need to enlist other people to help you. This is what Psalm 42 was all about. We looked at it last week. Oh, my soul, why are you disquieted within me? Oh, hope in the Lord. And we looked at that verse. Number 2, secondly, you have to practice the presence of God. We talked about that last week. All of us are skilled professionals of what's going wrong in life. But we need to practice the presence of God by acknowledging the little things and making a big deal out of them. Yes. Isn't that what parents do with little babies? Oh, look at Poo-Poo. Poo-Poo fell on his face, and he got up all by us. Oh, look at my little Snooky. The little kid lost his balance and put one hand down, and the parent makes you think he was moonwalking or something. But you want to make a big deal. You guys think I'm joking, but you know what? Went to the golf course again this week. Played for free again. Say what you want. Now, you ladies like big deal. Well, suppose every time you went to the beautician, she did your hair for free. Practice his presence. Give him a shout out. Thank him. Number 3, and we'll talk about these more in the upcoming weeks. I've already talked about it. You got to grieve. If you don't grieve, your only alternative is depression. Grieve means to metabolize. Just like you metabolize food, you must metabolize experiences so that you don't become emotionally constipated. You've got to metabolize. When food gets stuck in you, you know the discomfort you feel. It's the same way with emotions. Some people haven't metabolized things from their childhood, and I'm not making light of them. I'm just saying it's necessary. Some people haven't metabolized the loss of a relationship with someone they thought they were going to walk down the aisle with. I'm not saying it's easy, but that was 3 years ago. That was 5 years ago. That was 7 years ago. Some people haven't metabolized the loss of a job, the loss of a friendship. That person's not even thinking about you, and you're bringing them up in your mind every day. Number 4, this is a big one. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one next week. You listen to me very carefully. You need to develop a life outside of the object of your depression. You need to, for some of us, our whole life is finances or the lack thereof. For some of us, our whole life is our relationship or the fact that we're not married. For some of us, our whole life is perhaps not having a child or whatever it is. But you need to develop a life outside of the object of your depression. I dedicated a whole teaching to this called Enjoying Everyday Life. You need to get engaged in life-giving, life-enriching activities. You need to schedule them in. You need to do whatever you have to do to schedule them in. Somebody says, well, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to. And you need to be strategic. I'll use sports illustrations. Now, this fits obviously because of work and because I can My wife's very understanding, but and I know you must feel like half our discussion is about golf, but there's something called Twilight, and you can go to the course and play in the afternoons from like 4 o'clock till the sun sets, and it's like usually a third of the course. So I could go out at 6:30 and play to 8:30 at night and pay a third of the cost. But my point is not the cost. My point is not the golf. If you use a little creativity or do a little bit of research, some of the things you think you can't afford, you can. Someone says, well, I can't afford $50 for a round of golf, but you might be able to afford $12 or $15 for Twilight. And you have your corollary. There's Shakespeare in the Park for the people in the room and those of us who live in New York City. Be resourceful. Go online. Find free activities. Even some of the museums, Edme said this, she went to one and this may have changed, but even some of the museums, if you look carefully, it's called suggested donation. And you need to go up there with a big smile and say, my funds are a little tight, so I'm going to suggest I give you $1 and you let me in. Use a little creativity. Don't be stuck. And don't get stuck on the bland. If you go to a movie every weekend or every month, save that movie money and go to a show. So I can't afford, they want $100 for a Broadway ticket. They want $80. They want $150. Well, skip the movies. They're coming to online and Blockbuster and all those other sources in about 3 weeks. You're so impatient, you got to go spend $13 for a movie and $5 for some popcorn and $4 for a soda, and then you need some nachos, and you leave out of there, and you spend $35 to see a movie that you could get for $4 if you wait 1 month. I'm going to give myself an offering because I'm preaching. Be resourceful. Don't let because when you're depressed, remember, you can't concentrate. You're not thinking clearly. The enemy knows if he can wear you out, you don't even think about these options. Wow. And last but not least, calculate what depression is costing you. What is it costing you? You're missing your prime years? You're missing, perhaps, some cases, people will miss a season of their children, they're depressed. And this is not to condemn, but think about what it's costing you. Is this the fact that I don't have a date really worth my health? Is this job really worth acne and back spasms and loss of, is it really worth that? And we'll pick up here next week. Amen?